The story kicks off with Tim, a game developer, in the middle of a tense work meeting at his apartment. Out of nowhere, his internet cuts out, grinding everything to a halt. Frustrated, he takes a moment to reflect on happier times with his wife, sweet memories of their life together. But his thoughts drift to a darker moment, when his wife was pregnant, struck by severe pain from complications, forcing them to rush to the hospital. Just then, his wife walks through the door, catching him off guard. Her sudden return makes Tim jittery, and they head downstairs together, where they run into the building manager. He casually mentions that the building's repairs are almost done and the covers draped over the structure will soon come off. As they chat, a helicopter roars overhead. The manager drops a bombshell. A massive fire has erupted at the port nearby. Tim and his wife step away, and she shows him her old car, fresh from the repair shop. They climb in, munching on pizza, when she hits him with a bold idea. "Let's go to Paris," she says, her voice full of longing. "We always dreamed of it. I quit my job. We need a fresh start after everything." She's talking about the accident, the heartbreaking loss of their child during her pregnancy complications. Tim hesitates, torn. "I can't just leave my job," he says, his tone heavy. "Maybe later." His phone buzzes with a work call, pulling him away. That night, they lie in bed, wide awake. His wife's quiet sobs fill the silence, and Tim feels the weight of their fractured connection. Morning comes, and Tim wakes to find his wife packed and ready to leave. "You'll never change," she says, her voice breaking. "I'm done." But as she opens the door to storm out, she freezes. Strange, unyielding bricks block the way. She glares at Tim, suspecting he's behind it. "Move them," she demands. He's just as confused, inspecting the bricks, which are oddly solid. They check the windows, same story. Bricks everywhere, sealing every exit. They grab tools, desperate to break through, but the bricks don't budge, not even a scratch. Tim's wife tries her phone, no signal. Tim checks the Wi-Fi, dead. They search the apartment for a signal, but nothing works. Then Tim notices something bizarre. When his phone gets close to the bricks, it glitches out. His wife grabs a drill and they attack the bricks together, but it's useless. The entire apartment is encased in these impenetrable bricks, leaving them stunned. How could someone seal off a whole building like this? Suddenly, a scream echoes from the next apartment. Tim and his wife punch a hole through the wall and find a man and a woman both panicked. The man explains they rented the room for one night, but now they're trapped too, their exits blocked by the same strange bricks. "Is this happening to you too?" he asks, his voice trembling. Tim and his wife nod, confirming they're in this same mess. The man grows more frantic, and the woman looks terrified. Tim and his wife try to calm her down, while Tim checks the apartment. Even the water supply is cut off. "This feels like one of my video games," Tim says, half joking, hoping to lighten the mood. But his wife snaps. "This isn't your stupid game, Tim. This is real." Their argument flares, tension boiling over. Furious, Tim smashes his phone against the wall and slumps down, defeated. But then he spots something odd. A chip from his broken phone is stuck to the brick, like it's magnetized. His wife returns, apologizing for their fight. Tim grabs a spoon and presses it to the wall. "It sticks! These bricks are magnetic," he exclaims, showing her. They gather every iron object in the apartment, knives, tools, anything, and stick them to the wall. His wife notices the magnetic pull is stronger in a square patch. But then the objects start shaking, flying off the wall towards them. Tim yanks his wife down just in time, but a sharp piece of metal grazes his back, drawing blood. She quickly bandages him up, her hands shaking. Another scream pierces the air from the neighboring room. They call out, but no one answers. Determined, they enlarge the hole in the wall and climb through, Tim gripping a bat, his wife clutching pepper spray. Inside, they find the woman collapsed near the bed. Tim and his wife rush to help her, while Tim searches for the man. Out of nowhere, the man tackles Tim, slamming him to the ground. Tim and his wife sprays pepper spray in his face, and Tim fights back, landing punches until the woman intervenes. "He didn't hurt me," she cries. "I fell trying to break the bricks. We were drunk last night." Tim ties Mervin's hands, wary of his erratic behavior. The woman opens up, explaining she and her husband Marvin are just passing through. Tim searches the apartment and finds a storeroom with a heavy hammer. He swings at the bricks, but Marvin, now calmer, warns, "You'll break the hammer, not the wall." Tim demands to know why Mervin attacked him. The woman admits Marvin's drug use clouds his memory. He doesn't even recall the fight. Tim's wife, an architect, has a spark of inspiration. "This building's old, from wartime," she says. "There's gotta be a basement shelter connected to a railway system. If we break through the floor, we can escape." They start smashing the floor, working as a team. Marvin, still shaken, mutters that someone's behind this, pointing the finger at the building manager. They finally break through, creating a pit. Tim climbs down and calls for a neighbor, an old man, who appears wielding a gun. He's hostile, refusing to share his supplies. "Go another way," he growls. But his granddaughter steps in, urging him to cooperate. "We're stronger together," she says, and he reluctantly agrees. Everyone descends into the basement. Tim unties Marvin, asking him to help break the ground. Then Tim spots a device embedded in the wall. He pries it open. A camera stares back. "Did you install this?" he asks the old man, who shakes his head, blaming the building manager. He finds another device, another camera. Marvin's paranoia spikes. "This is a game," he says, wild-eyed. "Like Squid Game. The manager's watching us, pulling the strings." Tim's wife suggests confronting him. He lives in the next flat. They break through the wall, hearts pounding, only to find a gruesome scene. The building manager is dead, his hand severed, blood everywhere. Marvin bolts to the bathroom, vomiting, his wife trailing behind. Tim's wife, shaken, steps out, unable to stomach it. Tim checks the manager's phone, finding photos of the mysterious bricks. They return to breaking the floor, desperate for a way out. Tim's wife shows him a news article about the port fire, hinting at a connection to their predicament. With a deafening crack, the floor collapses. Tim, Marvin, and his wife tumble into the darkness. Tim's wife scrambles down to help, pulling him to safety. Marvin and his wife cling to each other, shaken but unharmed. The old man's granddaughter prepares to follow, but he hesitates, handing her his gun. "I'll stay," he says, but she drags him along. As they navigate the rubble, a stranger emerges, hands raised. "I'm Yuri," he says. "I was staying with my friend in this flat." He laughs off their escape plan, claiming the brick walls are a high-tech defense system to protect them from an attack. Tim presses him for proof, but Yuri spouts vague, wild theories, leaving them skeptical and on edge. The group stands in shock, staring at Yuri, who's just revealed the grim fate of his friend. Tim's wife, her voice trembling, asks, "Where's your friend who lived here?" Yuri points to a lifeless body slumped in the corner. "He just collapsed," Yuri says, his tone flat. "Probably a heart attack. He was obsessed with researching these bricks." A heavy silence falls over them. They huddle together, wondering if the world outside is in ruins. "Is it safe to go out there?" Marvin asks, his voice shaky. His wife, Tim's wife, and the others agree they can't stay trapped. "We're taking the risk," Tim's wife says firmly. They decide to leave, but the old man's granddaughter lingers, curious about Yuri's friend's research. Yuri adds, "He died stressing over this wall." With that, the granddaughter joins the group and they head to the basement, smashing through the floor to find a way out. In the basement, they discover a tunnel, but their hope fades when they see the same unbreakable brick wall blocking the door. Marvin, furious, grabs a hammer and pounds the wall. Tim tries to calm him, but the old man raises his gun, ordering Marvin to stop. Marvin nods, muttering, fine, I'm good. But in a flash, he snatches the gun and fires at the wall. The bullets freeze mid-air, vibrating strangely. Get down, Tim yells. Everyone ducks, but the old man isn't quick enough. A stray bullet hits him. His granddaughter rushes to his side, screaming for help. Marvin steps forward, but she shoves him away, blaming him as her grandfather takes his last breath. Devastated, they retreat to Yuri's friend's room, grappling with the loss. Marvin's wife breaks the silence. Is there something in our lives that connects us? She asks, her voice soft. She shares how she narrowly escaped death as a child. The old man's granddaughter, tears in her eyes, says her mother died of cancer. Yuri, hesitating, admits he killed someone while working as a cop. The group turns to Marvin, who apologizes again for the old man's death, but the granddaughter snaps at him, her grief raw. When it's Tim and his wife's turn, she starts to speak, but Tim cuts her off. She pushes past him, her voice breaking. She says, "We lost our child in the womb." Tim storms off to another room, and she follows. Their argument erupts. "After our baby died, you buried yourself in work," she cries. "I faced the pain alone." Tim takes a deep breath, urging everyone to focus. "We can't just sit here. Let's search the building manager's room for clues," he says. The granddaughter suggests checking Yuri's friend's work too. Tim, Marvin, and his wife head to the building manager's room, while Tim's wife and the granddaughter dig into Yuri's friend's belongings. Yuri stays behind, uninterested. In the building manager's room, Tim notices it's smaller than the one upstairs. He taps the wall, discovering a hidden room. Marvin finds a remote, but it's locked with a password. They dust powder on it, revealing fingerprints on 4 numbers. After guessing, they crack the 4-digit code. Marvin's wife calls the others to join them. Meanwhile, Tim's wife and the granddaughter find a business card in Yuri's friend's room. It shows he worked for a company specializing in nanotechnology and defense systems, tech designed to protect against threats. They confront Yuri, but he shrugs, saying his friend was just a programmer who never shared details. They find his friend's smashed laptop and phone, and Yuri explains he'd break stuff when he got frustrated. A scrap of paper catches their eye, scribbled with a code that might unlock the wall. Yuri laughs, warning, "If you open it, deadly rays will flood in and kill us all." Marvin's wife rushes in, saying they found something. Tim's wife and Yuri head upstairs to check, while the granddaughter keeps digging. Tim tries password after password on the remote until a secret door clicks open. Inside, they find computers displaying live camera feeds from their apartments. They watch footage of their own room, pinpointing the moment the brick wall expanded, encasing the building like a high-tech defense system powered by nanotechnology. The granddaughter examines Yuri's friend's body and notices strangulation marks under his scarf. Suspicion grows. They check more footage and see Yuri approach the wall with his phone, its flash blinking 3 or 4 times, opening the bricks. Marvin searches for Yuri and catches him burning his friend's research. The group watches another video, chillingly clear. Yuri strangling his friend. Marvin finds the granddaughter dead by the bed and confronts Yuri, who claims, "I'm saving you all." Tim bursts in with a gun, catching Yuri choking Marvin. Yuri turns on Tim, strangling him, but Marvin kicks Yuri off, saving Tim. The others arrive, pleading, "Don't kill him, he might know the way out." Tim knocks Yuri out and ties him to a chair. The group mourns the granddaughter's death. Marvin's wife suspects Yuri killed his friend because he'd cracked the code to escape. They study the burnt paper, realizing the code follows a sequence like the bricks pattern. Tim's wife shows Yuri's friend's business card. The company's address matches the site of the port fire. They wake Yuri demanding, "How did your friend open the wall?" Yuri insists it's dangerous out there. We're safe inside. Tim fires a warning shot, pressing him. Did your company build this wall? Why? Yuri admits it's a defense system to shield against attacks. But why did your friend want out? Tim's wife asks. Yuri says his friend thought the fire caused a glitch in the system. Marvin nods. He's right. We need to trust him. They learn Yuri's friend was coding an app to open the wall. His broken phone is the key. It's flash-emitting electromagnetic waves to unlock the square-shaped locks on the wall. Tim repairs the app, and they approach the brick wall. They activate the app, clicking randomly, and the flash triggers, shifting the wall as if a path is forming. Marvin's wife reaches into the gap, gasping, "It's hot!" Panic sets in. "My hand's stuck. Something's pulling me." They yank her back, but the wall closes, severing her body in half. Marvin collapses, heartbroken. Yuri laughs maniacally, and in a rage, Marvin shoots Yuri, then turns the gun on himself. Tim and his wife, now alone, sit in despair. "I was broken when we lost our child," she says, tears falling. "I needed you, but you weren't there." Tim takes her hand. "I'm so grateful you didn't leave me," he says. She smiles faintly. "Because I love you." Determined, they vow to escape. They study the app, noticing the flash activates in patterns, 6 times, 4, or just 1 or 2. They rewatch the footage, mimicking Yuri's friend's sequence. In the basement, they try the app again, but Yuri, barely alive, lunges at Tim. He chases Tim's wife, who falls into the basement. Tim shoves Yuri down too and follows. They sprint through the tunnel, Yuri hot on their heels. They slam a door shut, locking Yuri out as he pounds on it. Tim hands his wife the phone. "Open the door," he says. She inputs the code, but Yuri bursts in, tackling Tim. They grapple, Yuri choking him. Tim gasps, "Go, save yourself." But his wife grabs a hammer and strikes Yuri, killing him. They push forward through the tunnel, emerging outside, only to see the brick walls encasing the entire area. Defeated, they spot their car, climb in, and drive towards Paris. The radio crackles with news. The fire triggered the company's nanotech defense system, engulfing the city. To survive, it must be shut down. And with that, their story pauses, leaving us on the edge of our seats.